Reality is stranger than fiction. A human life and its storylines of tragedy and comedy resembles a television serial so much that it wouldn't be beyond belief for them to be more aligned than we're led to believe. All of us at some point have wondered whether the narrative of our life has been constructed in some way to be as dramatic as possible. And even those of us who are the most secular have at one time or another wondered why everything happens to us the way it does, and yet we carry on for our own reasons. My reason is not one I completely understand, but it's useful. I feel some sense of observation, not from a god, there's no such thing, but from something like an audience, a manifestation of my own high standards and desire to succeed, an inflated ego that cares so much about how I must seem to others, the desire to impress my future self with all my talent and hard work. Without the feeling of being watched and evaluated, even if just by myself, I'd struggle to be motivated or see the point of anything. I guess I want to be able to say that I own the stage, so I took it a bit more literally by thinking of the world as being one. But then one man in his lifetime plays many parts. We do so for the same reason we imagine gods and creation myths, because we like the idea of there being some great explanation for everything that happens to us, that it's all part of a grand plan designed specifically for us. We can't bear the idea that not everything happens for any particular reason, that we're alone in the cosmos, that our life doesn't matter in the larger scheme of events. If all the worst moments in our life were actually not real because they were actually predetermined, then we're not unlucky after all. We did nothing wrong. It's the ultimate vindication. Similarly, all the best moments in our life were given to us by someone who wants us to be happy. Everything's in control, we have nothing to truly fear. It's a lovely idea. It's also sadistic manipulation, a grand deception. It also means we're puppets or toys, no more than very sophisticated pets. The Truman Show is the sort of film that was inevitable, a story that will always come along sooner or later because everyone has considered its premise at least once. Everyone can relate to it. An example of a work about something so specific it's impossible to retread that ground without being compared, no matter how hard Ed TV tried. Just what were the writers thinking when they decided to make that happen to me? Does the audience like me? What's my most popular episode? My least popular episode? My most controversial episode? Who's the most popular supporting character? The least popular supporting character? I think we think of our lives in terms of a televised drama because it helps us understand the structure of them more. It gives us someone to blame. However, all of this occurs to me based on the premise of the film rather than the content. I mean, the film gives them a little push, but there are no ideas expressed in the film that weren't prompted by the marketing. And this is something that also seems to be the case when it comes to the film's referencing in culture and by the media. It's more famous for its premise than any of its characters or a particular scene or line of dialogue. It's an iconic pitch, but the story never develops beyond that, apart from the one scene in which Christoph and Sylvia debate the ethics of the show. Truman is an everyman. He's a nice, likeable, average guy, but he's a weak protagonist. This is a story of a man realising that his entire world is a construct designed to control his life. That would affect you. Yet all we see of Truman is him acting edgy and crazy. The facade of his life unravels, but he doesn't have any sort of emotional response. For example, we're never shown how he plans his escape the way he does. We only ever watch Truman, we never get to know him. Perhaps that's the point. Perhaps we're being positioned as the viewers with distance from him, but I was never invested in him as his own character, only as a plot device. Something I also find interesting is what the director Peter Weir said about the film. There has always been this question: is the audience getting dumber, or are we filmmakers patronising them? Is this what they want, or is this what we're giving them? But the public went to my film in large numbers, and that has to be encouraging. The thing is though, The Truman Show is a bit dumbed down. Not by much, but it wasn't the return of intellectual Hollywood that Weir makes it out to be. There are plenty of academic analyses of the film as a theological analogy, particularly that Christoph is God. But that's obvious. His name is actually Christoph. He speaks to Truman at the end with an omnipotent voice through the clouds. Truman even essentially walks on water to escape. I'm not sure why the director's giving the film's audience so much credit when he did the work for them. There could have been a lot more to like about The Truman Show than there is. Truman is difficult to empathise with. Jim Carrey gives as good a performance as he can. It's not as profound as it seems intended to have been. It doesn't develop its premise much. It's an experience that will stay with me not for a long time, though still for some amount of time.
Hi, I'm John Landis, and I would like you to subscribe to Alexander Sigworth's YouTube channel, because it's incredibly important for world peace.